Judge, I can hear you. How are you today?
Great. Good, and you, James?
Good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I just want to remind you that we will be here for all of your dockets.
Okay, great.
So
that's wonderful.
Anything that comes up, somebody from my office will be on each one. It may be different each time, but we'll be here.
All right. Good. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is my first time to do court virtually, so it feels very odd for me to not have persons here in person so that I can tell them what the instructions are and so forth. But I'd like to greet everybody that is on. I'd like to say good morning to all of you and thank you for being here. And what I would like to do is at this time, go ahead and take a roll call to see if the persons that should be logged on at this time are on. And also to remind everyone that today we are not holding trial. We are just here for arraignments or for a pretrial. Let's see. Let me start first by asking if Thomas Wayne Burns is on Zoom and this morning for his hearing.
Good morning, Judge. We represent Mr. Burns. If you'd like to discuss that client in chambers, I filed a motion to withdraw earlier this week. We tried to let him know that he had court, but we were unable to reach him. But we do have a conflict that arose. And I'd be happy to discuss that with you in chambers.
Okay, that I believe I've already granted your withdrawal.
Okay, thank you.
I have that for him. Yes.
We'd ask that another appointed attorney be appointed in our stead.
Okay, that will happen. Okay. I wish that he was on so that I could explain to him. Let's see. But you say you were not able to get a hold of him?
No, Judge. We were appointed on he and another client, and a conflict arose in the course of our representation.
Okay. I'm looking for that one request. Could you give me that one request, Brenda? Just a moment, please. The form for the where he where I was going to grant the
let me go print it out.
His request.
Yeah.
Oh, you just gave it to me though. You just handed it to me.
No.
Judge, I think you were asking if we had let Mr. Burns know. We did make an attempt to let him know, but we have not heard from him.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and sign your request to withdraw as attorneys because of your conflict. And I'll go ahead and file that today.
Thank you, Judge.
And you should have that. Your motion to withdraw will be granted, and I will appoint him another attorney as soon as possible. Thank you. So that takes care of Thomas Wayne Burns. Orlando Hidalgo. Are you present, Orlando Hidalgo?
No, he's been taken care of.
He's been taken care of? Okay. The state of Texas versus Tanya Macias. Tanya, are you present on Zoom? Tanya Macias. Okay, these persons should be logged on already.
I don't see anybody by that name logged in, Judge.
Thank you. So we need to count those persons.
Judge,
not present. Yes.
Judge, when I went on the YouTube live stream, it said there were 20 some odd people waiting in the waiting room. So I'm wondering if maybe people are signing into the YouTube live stream.
We have that too.
I don't know if that's working, but the link were provided is not up and running, but I do see several people waiting to sign on to that. I don't know how that all works, but I know when I looked at it this morning, that's what it said, that there were 25, 26 people waiting.
Oh, wonderful. My assistant had told me that also, that people were already waiting as of 9 o'clock, I think. They were already, she wasn't able to come on.
Judge, also to let you know that the live streaming is not working. This court is not being broadcast as an open court right now.
Okay, and it has to be. It's supposed to be, so hold on.
We've just been checking and it's not working right now.
It looks like there's 22 people in the waiting room for the live
YouTube? Okay,
we were provided.
okay, thank you. We're looking into that right now.
Yes, Judge.
If you can give me a few minutes.
It's being live streamed on YouTube, and there's no one on the
Judge,
on the Zoom waiting list.
sorry, Judge, it is being live streamed on YouTube. It's showing that right now. And there's nobody in the waiting room for Zoom, and there's nobody in the waiting room on YouTube.
Judge, what the link we were provided, let me see if I can pull
I
it.
think you were provided shows that people are in the waiting.
Yes, Judge. Let me see if I can pull it up on my screen real quick. Let me see.
Which is the link?
Sorry, Judge. There it is.
Okay,
Let me try it on here.
Judge, here's a link that we were provided. Let me pull it up. Let me see if I can open this. And
I just sent in chat the YouTube link again
Sorry.
for your reference.
Yes,
Okay.
Judge, the chat link that
Judge,
Mr.
here's a
Potton's
link
office,
that we were provided. Let me
hold on, Bailey. Judge, the link that
the
Judge,
link that we were provided. Let me
hold on,
see
is,
if I can open this. And
I just sent in chat the
yes, Judge, the link that was sent by Rod Potton's office is working, but it's not the link that was put on the dockets. And it was not the link that was emailed to us this morning. So it's a different live stream than is the one that was publicly promoted for being able to view this docket. It does, the one that is up does clearly say Presidio County Court, but it's not the one that was sent to us.
okay, so that makes it where we can't continue then. If the links aren't correct, we can't continue, and we can't count anyone absent or not appearing in court.
I wish it was different, Judge. The link that Mr. Potton's office did send me just now in chat or to everyone is working. It's just not the one that was put on the docket.
That could be why there's people in the waiting room, but it's a different link.
Yeah, maybe.
Judge, I can show you. Here's the link that we provided. Let me see. Let me see if
No.
I can't share my screen, Judge, but let me send it to everybody.
The YouTube, it's for other people to view in, but as long as they have access to Zoom, we can go forward with it.
As long as they have access to Zoom.
Yes.
Judge, I just sent the link that we were initially provided in the chat to
Yeah, because
everybody.
that's how they're supposed to be logged in through court, is through Zoom, not through YouTube.
Yeah, and Judge, I think the separate problem is the open courts provision. Because if it's not being broadcast in a way that was made accessible to people, then we're not having an open court.
open courts provision. Okay, so what I'm being told is that people need to be on court through Zoom. And the Zoom link was correct. And the YouTube is just for viewing.
Yeah, I think, Judge, the YouTube is for guaranteeing under open courts that all the proceedings can be viewed by the public. And so if the YouTube link is not correct, hold on a second. If the YouTube link was not correct, then we're not having an open court right now. That's the concern.
And Mr. McDermott, what is it that you just told me? Okay, so
Judge, if I may, for
yes.
Mr. McDermott, there's a requirement that courts be open and allowed to be viewed by the public. And I believe the point Mr. McDermott was making was that if the incorrect link was sent out on the dockets, then while this is streaming, it's not open in public because people don't know how to access the stream if they wanted to. I don't want to speak out of turn, but that is my understanding of what Mr. McDermott's saying.
So it has to be open, and I guess that's why you have to provide the YouTube link.
If it's open on YouTube, Judge, it's open. I mean, the fact that
But the wrong link was sent, so people can't.
It's recording also, Judge.
But you could announce it right now that what the current link is.
Your defendants were told to log into Zoom.
Which is accurate. The defendants were told to log into Zoom, but they may not know how to do that even if it's announced right now on the record on a link that people don't know exists, then they would not have any ability to sign in via Zoom if that was their intent, Judge. So I'm worried about people not being able to know, hey, you announce it right now. Hey, I want to sign in. I want to do what's right, but they're not watching this stream because they weren't given the correct link to be able to watch and realize their mistake.
No, that's let me clarify. There are two issues going on and two different people involved. It is true that the defendants were given on the docket, if they received the docket, that they received the Zoom link and could appear if they followed the proper guidance on the Zoom link, but that's a separate issue. Open courts provision is the right for the public to view court proceedings. And if the public was posted the wrong information on how to view court proceedings, it would be the same as if
Trying to have a commissioner's court in secret or something like that.
it's like saying, right.
You can't deny public access.
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly, Judge. It's like that whole controversy you had a year ago of whether or not you gave notice when you had commissioner's court in Presidio County, where you gave proper notice, but people said we can't drive there. Well, you gave notice. So it's the same thing as if you'd said, have it in this courtroom A, but we're going to go over to my office and have commissioner's court without y'all. That's the situation we're in right now.
Did you hear that, Mr. McDermott? Rod was asking you a question.
I couldn't hear him. No, Judge.
Oh,
Well, let me try to.
he's going to unmute himself. He had a question for you real quick.
That's fine. If he wants to call me, he can do that too, if that's easier. I can't hear him very well.
Commissioners Court in Presidio County, where you gave proper notice that people said that we can't drive there. Well, you gave notice.
Rod, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I can hear you perfectly now. Yes, sir.
Wait, I'm sorry. Let me mute myself.
I was confused whether you were complaining that defendants are not able to check in or the public's not able to check in.
I think the problem we have right now, I think the notice that I saw on the dockets for defendants could be adequate, but my concern right now is that the notice to the public about how to view the proceedings was not correct, and therefore they wouldn't know where to look, because the notice on the public notice for where to view the proceedings was not correct.
Yeah,
I can't hear you, no. And Judge, I certainly think that we could probably continue, at least just give court status updates with what we've got. I don't want to try and sabotage our whole day. And let's do as much as we think that we can.
James,
Yes, sir.
You can hear me now?
Kind of. Your volume's not great, but I can hear you.
Okay. I mean, you and I both know that there's no one who ever attends these county court proceedings other than counsel and defendants, possibly occasionally family members of defendants.
I don't know who might want to watch. I don't.
That's what the purpose of what we're trying to do today. Today's arraignments, we're trying to make sure that everybody we're trying to make sure everybody has a lawyer and that they've been notified.
I think there's some business we probably can do, given that there is streaming somewhere. I just wouldn't want people. I think there's other barriers, and let's take them case by case and see where we go. But I do have concern that the streaming link, and we even called this morning, probably 15 minutes before court, to make sure that we had the right streaming link. And that is the one that is, and that's, I don't remember who provided that to our office. But even if we called, whether the clerk's office or I don't know who we called, but the information that was being given out to the public as recently as 15 minutes before court was incorrect. And I will agree, the one that Mr. Ponton has posted here in the chat is correct, and we are live streaming on that one. Absolutely, we've checked that, and that's why we're getting feedback, because I was running it at the same time. But it's the one that the public was told about is the one that's not working.
And that is what from today and tomorrow. Judge, this is Carolina from the clerk's office. Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you. I can't hear the judge though.
Okay, well, the
Can you hear me now,
information,
Carolina?
yeah, the information from the YouTube that we got is what we got from Rod, or from Rod's office. That's exactly what we got from his office. That's what we sent out.
Okay, yeah, we're aware of that. Thank you, Carolina. Yeah, we're not saying there's a mess up on your part at all.
Thank you.
So yeah, there's not a mess up on your part at all. Yeah, I'm pretty apprehensive about going forward. No, because if the Supreme Court of Texas and the OCA has said that we have to have the YouTube and for public viewing, I mean, I'm not gonna go before a judicial ethic committee and say, why did you continue with court when you hadn't met all the requirements? I'm just not gonna do that. It's easier to just reschedule it.
I and the public defenders are comfortable moving forward with the arraignments. We're not convicting anybody today. We're just-
James, so are you forward?
It's because that YouTube channel, we're not paying for it yet.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's probably why it's not, because my understanding is you have to pay for it for them to view. So the one that's being streamed right now, that's off of Roberts.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
So the ID that we gave them, that one's not being paid for. I paid for it for the first month, but I don't know.
We set up the Zoom, the same way we've done many Zoom conferences in my office. There's always work before.
Yeah, but a conference in your office is different from court, Rod. I mean, it's gonna be very different. We're gonna have to do court. Exactly. I'm gonna have to see about getting my own YouTube account, and I already have a Zoom. So I just thought that we were gonna be able to have this all set up. I only want to go forward with the cases that are safe to go forward to, and you're correct, we're not gonna prosecute anyone today. However, I mean, we're still obligated to meet every single requirement for court. That's already a prerequisite for this type of hearings. So, okay.
Hear Mr.
Yes,
Making sure we have please.
go ahead.
I can't hear Mr. Ponton.
He's on the phone.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's on the phone.
Second. Judge, Mr. Pott and I are discussing right now what things we may be able to go forward on. If you could give us a minute, we'll come back on the call and tell you some things that business at least we may be able to take care of.
All right. Okay. Thank you
All right.
so
Thank
much.
you.
I'm gonna go open a YouTube account real quick. I'll be right back. Not for today, but for future courts.
Judge, I did that for my oversight board meeting last month, and it is trickier than it seems. So I might maybe later today or next week go over that and make sure that and see if I can help, because it was harder than I thought it was going to be.
Okay, but it can be done. Yeah,
It can be done. It just was not straightforward, and I thought it was going to be straightforward.
complicated, huh?
So hold on a second. Let me talk to Mr. Ponton and I'll be right
All right,
back.
go ahead. Okay. Excuse me. Huh? I'm not leaving. How did we send out the wrong Zoom? Was it hard to get Zoom, YouTube?
It's just, hard getting
You think it was?
back set up. It's kind of Zoom stuff.
The subscription for that YouTube. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Judge. Judge, Mr. Pont and I have talked, and oh, I can't hear you. You're on mute now.
Okay,
There.
I should be unmuted now.
Yeah, and I think what we can do is just go through today's and tomorrow's dockets and give the court an update as to everything that we think we're gonna do. And then anybody that, yeah, what has been happening, I can let you know that what's been happening in district court is that unrepresented people, when they get a notice of arraignment, often they're calling the court. And Lori is getting appointment paperwork over to us. They are accepting waivers of arraignment, which I think you are too. And we're trying to sort of, if you have a docket of like 25 people, we're trying to really, before docket even starts, getting that whittled down to half or less.
Right.
Just so that we can keep this business moving. And so what we'll do is if we want to pull out today's and tomorrow's dockets, then I think we can just go over them one by one, at least make sure the court knows exactly what's going to happen. That might streamline the next setting that we get and help everything move faster. I think the goal is that if we have pleas that we can do, that we can present them all to you, that you know that they're happening, that they can all be set together so that you're not sort of piecemeal doing them all day.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense, Judge? Is that okay with you?
It does, that's fine.
All right.
Okay, and like you said, then the whole day won't be, for naught.
And I can't hear you very well, Judge.
Can you hear me now?
It's faint. It's faint.
Okay. Let me turn up my volume. How about now?
No, ma'am.
This is a brand new laptop. I don't know what.
You were clear 5 minutes ago, but I can't hear you now.
It sounds like one of the other mics in the courtroom is picking you up, Judge, and sometimes they're directional. We ran into this with Hudspeth County as well.
Now, can you hear me?
It's very faint still.
I have the volume. Okay, can you hear her now? Let's see, can you hear me now?
It's faint still, Judge. I can hear you, but it's like Mr. Ponton was at the very beginning.
First, could you hear me, Mr. McDermott?
I could very well until you took the break.
Now, can you hear me?
Has not changed. I mean, I can hear you, but it's like you're at the end of a tunnel.
How about now?
It's the same. I can hear you probably enough for what we're going to do today, as long as we can hear Mr. Ponton.
Okay. All right.
And as long as you can hear us, I think that's what's
I can
more
hear
important
you.
right now.
I can hear
And
you.
let's try Mr. Ponton and Mr. McShane.
Okay.
Check.
I can hear you, Mr. McShane. Thank you. Mr. Ponton?
I'm here.
Yeah, I can hear him too, Judge. So I think that's mostly what matters.
Well, I'm sorry you can't hear me.
We'd like to hear you as much as possible, Judge.
Well, I think. Is it maybe because of my mask?
Well, that's better right now. That
Okay,
was better. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better.
okay, well, I'll just leave my mask off.
Okay.
Anyway, people are more than 6 feet away, so
Great.
yeah, so we're good there. Okay, let's continue then with what we can. What did you need, a pen?
No.
Next one is Tanya Macias.
Tanya Macias theft? She's not present in the Zoom, is she?
No, ma'am, she's not.
Trevin Malik Stigler? Not
N-
present in the Zoom.
No, ma'am.
Yes, Antonio Rodriguez is present. I see him.
Yes, Judge.
Antonio Manuel Rodriguez? I see him logged on. Maybe he's not speaking yet.
You may have set the phone down, Judge. That happens in district court sometimes. Our clients will
That's
set
what?
the phone down.
Can
That
you hear me,
happens in
Judge?
district court. Oh,
Yeah.
there he is.
Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay.
I'm not for this morning. 'cause all these
Okay.
are from one district.
Okay. All right. So the only one present is Antonio Manuel Rodriguez. His,
I think we might have Dina on. I think I have seen her, which is her. So
okay,
you might want to
she's,
ask to see if she's there.
okay, Dina Colleen Gonzalez, are you there also? Yes, she is. She is.
Judge, is she on docket? I don't see that name under the 10 a.m. docket.
On the docket for 1 p.m., but she's
Okay.
on there now.
Okay, Judge.
We could try to go ahead and take care of her if it's possible. Okay. So we'll go ahead and continue then with the arraignments. And Mr. Rodriguez is the one who is present. How are you, Mr. Rodriguez?
Very well, Judge. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Okay, so we are here for an arraignment. And Mr. McDermott, okay, so he is going to be, he's not represented by an attorney. So give me a minute, please. All right, can you hear me now? Can you
Yes,
still hear me? Okay, Mr. Rodriguez, on your case, are you going to represent yourself?
No, Judge. I will have an attorney, but Judge, for the record, if there is a record, January 24th, we had a hearing and I filed a waiver of arraignment, and it was filed on January 21st of 2020. But the court has yet to sign off on the order. So my suggestion, Judge, would simply be that the court sign off on the order waiving arraignment and then set this matter for pretrial purposes and for jury trial as expeditiously as possible.
Okay, let me get your file. And the waiver of arraignment should be in there.
It should, yes, ma'am.
I don't see it in here.
I don't know what to tell you,
Yes,
Judge.
yes, it's here.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did sign it on January 23rd, 2020.
Okay, I never received a copy of the order. So anyway, I'll get with Carolina on that, Judge.
Okay. All right, so that was signed back when you first sent it. I don't know why we brought it to court today. Or had him on the docket.
I don't know either, Judge, but here I am. And so,
Okay,
again,
well, thank you.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what we'll do is, we could set this up for, are you gonna want a jury trial on this?
Yes, ma'am. Again, set the matter down for pretrial as requested in the waiver of statutory arraignment. And then we will be requesting a trial on the merits before a jury. Yes, ma'am. If it gets that far.
Okay. So noted, so you are dismissed.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Mr. Rodriguez.
And Judge, may I real quickly, Judge, you mentioned that you were taking a couple of cases that are on the 1 o'clock docket. Were you taking them up right now? And I have the last case on the docket for today, cost number 6632, Judge. But we can chime in again at 1 o'clock if the court wishes. But I was just simply going to state for the record that we filed a motion for speedy trial. The court hasn't ruled on it, but it was properly presented as required by the case law. And again, we would require a jury trial as expeditiously as possible. We did file again a motion for speedy trial.
Give me
And of
that
course-
case number again. It's 66.
Yes, ma'am. It is State Texas versus Candelario Gomez Muñiz, and that's cost number 6632.
Yes, I'm looking at that. Trial. Okay. Let me get his case.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, that's yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see it on yours.
Oh, because they're for 1 o'clock, so maybe they didn't bring those?
Maybe. But here's ours.
Okay, so we have yours. Is yours up to date?
It should be. That's the
Okay.
last one.
For substitute counsel. We did have the motion for substitute counsel and the continuance. You want to have this set up for a pre-trial? Is that what you're saying?
It's court referring to 6632. Can you hear me, Judge?
Yes. Well, I could barely hear you on that last on the last statement that
Yes,
you.
ma'am. My question was, if you were addressing me, Judge, if you were asking if we were requesting a pretrial, Judge, I don't believe we have any pretrial matters to take up, and so we would request again that that we go on the basis of that motion for speedy trial, so unless the court requires another pretrial before the jury
No.
trial itself, then I would relegate to the court's whim there in that regard.
Okay, we'll set that up for a trial then. And are you going to ask for a jury trial on that
Yes, ma'am.
also? be ready. Okay, which other case do you have at 1 o'clock?
That is the only one, Judge, and I'll get with the court. I'll copy Mr. Ponton, of course, on the fact that there are 5 other DWI cases that have not been addressed in the 4.5 years that he's been in office. So, but I'll take that up again on a later date, but I'll also address it by way of a letter to the court and of course, copy to Mr. Ponton, Judge. So, but for purposes of today, so is Mr. Candelario Muniz, is he excused for not being present on today, on this later's docket, Judge, at 1 o'clock?
Yes, he is.
Yes, ma'am. Well, very good, Judge. That is all I have at this time, Judge. I certainly thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
And then we can take care of her.
Yeah, she's logged in. So.
Okay, so Deanna Gonzalez, since you are logged on, you're also supposed to be on at 1 o'clock. We could go ahead and take care of you also at this time. Deanna, can you hear me? This is Judge Gabbana.
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. And are you represented by counsel at this time?
No, ma'am, I'm not.
Do you wish to be represented by counsel?
No, I'll be fine.
Well, I actually have to go ahead and give you an explanation of your rights since you are at this time without an attorney. These are going to be your rights. If you have any questions while I read these to you, go ahead and feel free to interrupt and ask. So as a defendant in a criminal case, well, first of all, you are charged with the offense of driving while intoxicated. This is a first offense. This does not indicate if it's a first offense, a second offense. It just says driving while intoxicated. So if it's a first offense, it is a Class B misdemeanor.
Could you start from the beginning, please? I didn't hear anything you said because my Wi-Fi went out.
Okay. So you are charged with the offense of driving while intoxicated. And this
Okay.
is your first offense. So it's a Class B misdemeanor. And on a Class B misdemeanor, if you are found guilty, you may be fined anywhere from $1 up to $2,000 and or sentenced to jail anywhere from 1 day up to 6 months.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's what you're accused of. And you do have the right to hire an attorney. Did you understand that?
Yes.
And if you do not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney to be appointed to represent you. Did you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Or you may represent yourself.
Okay.
If you want an attorney to represent you and you do have enough money to hire an attorney, this case can be reset to give you time to do so. If you want an attorney and do not have the money to hire an attorney, you may fill out a questionnaire so that the court can determine whether or not you qualify for court-appointed counsel. Court-appointed counsel is counsel, an attorney that would represent you without you having to pay for it. The court would pay for it. Did you understand that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing all of this, do you wish to represent yourself? Or do you wish to have an attorney appointed?
Could I please have an attorney appointed?
Yes. I'm not sure how we can proceed. What I'm going to need to do is have you fill out a questionnaire that indicates what the status of your financial being is.
Okay.
Let me just ask you some general questions. You're still gonna have to fill out that form. But I can tell you more or less right now if you qualify or not. Where are you employed? Are you employed at this time?
No, ma'am.
You are not employed? Okay, that automatically makes you qualify for an attorney. So what we will do is we will mail you the affidavit of indigency, or an affidavit that you have to fill out and give us your financial information. And you will sign that, have it notarized, and you will send it back to the court. Upon receiving it, within 3 days of receiving it, I will appoint you an attorney.
Judge, if I
Yes,
may,
That attorney will contact you through the contact information that you give. Yes, Mr. McShane?
Judge, in district court, Judge Ferguson and Judge Dominguez have just been going over the affidavit of indigency with our clients and then appointing our office on the record. I realize the paperwork may need to come in the future, but if you wanted to go over the affidavit of indigence and if she is found indigent and appoint our office, we'd be happy to handle everything about that intake process. If you wanted to do it on the record.
We could go ahead and do that on the record in the interest of saving time and moving the case along. She has said that she is not employed. Ms. Gonzalez, when was the last time that you were employed? How long have you been unemployed?
it has been about since the first Sunday of this month. So I think it was a 5th.
Okay, so you have been unemployed for 1 month?
No, for about like a week, 2 weeks.
For a week or two, okay. Okay, and what is your marital status? Are you single, married, or?
I'm married, but we're separated right now.
And your husband that you are separated from, where is he employed?
He's employed with the Army.
May I ask what his rank is?
E3.
Do you have any children?
Yes, I have 2.
And their ages, please?
7 and 2.
And do they reside with you at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Currently live where?
At 801 North Orange Street, apartment 37, Alpine, Texas 79830.
Okay, and do you receive any type of aid, financial aid from the state, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, so
I
forth?
do receive Medicaid and food stamps.
Okay, let's see. I don't have any other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and send you this paperwork. If nothing has changed by the time that you receive the paperwork, you'll be able to continue to have the attorneys that I'm going to appoint for you today. And so for the record, I'd like to go ahead and appoint Far West Texas Public Defender's Office as your attorney. And could you please give us a good contact number? Could you please give them a good contact number?
I was gonna
Yes,
say,
ma'am. It's 432.
hold on, ma'am. You may not want to broadcast it out on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. I forgot about YouTube. Yeah, so
Judge, if you could send myself or Mr. McDermott to a breakout room with Ms. Gonzalez, we'll get her contact information, and Mr. Baez will get in contact with her within the next hour or so.
All right, did you hear that, Miss Gonzalez?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
But can you send this to a breakout room, Judge, so I can
yes,
get the report? Thank you.
yes, just a moment. How are we gonna do the breakout room? Just a moment. First time for everything.
That's good. Judge, I'm also sending our office phone number over the chat feature to Ms. Gonzalez.
Thank you for doing that. We're getting the breakout room ready.
Thank you, Judge.
She's working on it right now. Okay. Does it take a long time, I wonder?
Judge, I put both Mr. McShane and Miss Gonzalez in a waiting room.
Okay, thank you for doing that. All right, then we could go on.
That's it for today. I mean,
That's it for this morning?
for this morning.
Okay.
Judge, we can just go ahead and review the rest of the dockets for the next day and a half.
Go ahead. You can start now.
Yeah, but we're gonna need Mr. McShane back because I don't know what he's doing on some of these cases.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So why don't we just go through and I don't know what you're planning to do for the rest of the day and for tomorrow for the unrepresented people. If you're gonna log into the Zoom, then we'll be here for them. So I just was wondering what you thought you would be doing for that.
Yeah, I will be doing that. I'll be logging in for them.
So somebody from my office will be at all of those for that. But let me get when Mr. McShane comes back, we'll go over the rest of the dockets. Oh, here he is. Great. Mr. McShane, do you want to go over the dockets for the next 2 days
Sure.
and give status updates?
Sure. Judge, for today, we represented 6745 Juanita Nunez. I filed a waiver of arraignment, which was granted earlier this week. We also represent 6722 on the 1 o'clock docket, Dolores Reyes Catano. I also submitted a waiver of arraignment on that case, which was granted earlier this week. The pretrial 6789, Mr. Ivan Antonio Perez Luna. You granted a motion to substitute counsel for Mr. Spurgeon. We were initially appointed on that case, but Mr. Spurgeon has become the retained counsel. For tomorrow, Judge, let me see. I'm sorry, I'm working on 2 different computers. It looks like our first client that we were appointed on is at 1 p.m., Judge. 6504, the state of Texas versus Jesus Sainz. Mr. Sainz was set for trial sometime in the past. We've told him he needs to appear if necessary, but we've already announced for jury trial in that case, Judge.
Okay.
It looks like our next case on the docket is going to be on the 4 p.m. docket, Judge. 6334, the state of Texas versus Juan Carlos Fuentes Garcia. I spoke with Mr. Ponton about this yesterday. He has another case pending out of Hudspeth County. I've spoken with Marianne Bramblett, the county attorney there in Hudspeth. She's agreed that this could be a case that could potentially be 1245. I discussed that briefly with Mr. Ponton yesterday. We need to coordinate the two cases. So if we could reset that case to give us a little bit of time to see if we can work out both those cases at one time, Judge.
That's correct, Judge.
Our next case is 6492, the state of Texas versus Miguel Angel Ramirez. Mr. Ponton and I spoke about this briefly yesterday. He didn't have his file in front of him, so I think we agreed to speak about it today. My notes indicate there may have been a resolution to this case, but we weren't able to fully discuss yesterday. So if Mr. Ponton and I can get together later this afternoon to discuss this case and see where we're at before the next setting, Judge, I think we'll hopefully be able to figure out where we are.
I'll call you after docket.
All right, thanks, Rod. And then the next case that we have, Judge, is the state of 6517, the state of Texas versus Celine Leyva Hernandez. Judge, I provided some documentation to Ponton yesterday. I don't know if he's had a time to review it. If we could reset that case to the next hearing so that Mr. Ponton can have some time to review the information I sent over to him, I'd be happy to discuss it with him over the phone as well when we talk here in just a little while.
Got a current plea offer.
What was that, Mr. Ponton? I couldn't hear you.
Versus Celine Leyva Hernandez. Judge, I provided some documentation. If we could reset that case to the next hearing so that Mr. Ponton can have some time to review the information I sent over to him. I'd be happy to discuss it.
That's her complaint.
Judge, I can't hear anything. I can't hear anything. Judge, I can't hear you. Yeah, Judge. I have no audio at all. Can you all hear me? You can,
Yes, I can hear you.
okay. Okay, I can hear.
Can you hear Rod? Can you hear me?
It seems like everything.
Yeah. It's like, is yours freezing?
Judge, I can't hear.
No, we can hear you. Okay, can you hear Rod? Hello?
I heard that.
You're muted, Judge.
It's real faint, Judge. I can't hear you. Like, I can hear you're talking, Judge, but I can't understand you. It's so faint.
Okay, can you hear Rod?
I can hear Rod now, yeah, I can hear the council table.
Are you on Gordia Sanchez?
What was it,
It's
Rod?
973. The last case on the afternoon docket.
It looks like Bob Garcia represents Mr. Sanchez. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I had. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a substitution.
No.
Yeah, we're
For
done.
today, we still got the one at 1. For right now, yes, we're done.
Sorry about all the technical difficulties.
It's a learning curve.
I think we've had every technical difficulty you can have.
Okay, so we're,
Rod, is the judge talking? I can't hear her. Is
If
she
she talks, I'll let you know. What's your phone number?
512? Or here, I'll send it to you.
there you go. 512.
Judge, I can hear you, but it sounds like you're, like Mr. McDermott said earlier, kind of at the back of a tunnel or something similar to that. So I don't know if it's your mic or if it's Mr. Ponton's mic that's picking you up. That's somewhat better, Judge, but it's still real low.
What's the connection?
I can hear you, but I think it's on Mr. Ponton's mic. I can't tell though.
It has been.
I could hear that. It still sounds like you're in an auditorium, Judge. But I can hear you well enough to probably finish up our business here. For the moment.
So did we finish going through all the cases for the day?
Yes.
For today and tomorrow.
We're gonna start with tomorrow's case.
Okay.
All right. So that's 6707 Fairmont, Junior Gomez.
Judge, we don't represent anybody on this first docket, but one of us will be here for it.
Well,
Yes, Judge. Our first case is on the 1 p.m. docket, 6504, the state of Texas versus Jesus Signs. Mr. Chambers announced for trial in this case either sometime last year, or the year before. Mr. Signs has been told he needs to be there, but this case was set on the trial docket, Judge. So if there's a reason for him to be there, we're happy to have him there. But at this point, due to the technical difficulties, we'd ask that this case be reset for a jury trial whenever the next jury trial time becomes available.
Okay, so noted. And no, you won't have to be present tomorrow.
Thank you, Judge. Our next clients are on the 4 p.m. docket tomorrow, Judge. Our first client is 6334, the state of Texas versus Juan Carlos Fuentes Garcia. This is the case. He has another pending case out of Hudspeth County, and I've spoken with Ms. Bramblett, the county attorney there in Hudspeth, and with Mr. Ponton there in Presidio. They both seem amenable to trying to work out both cases at once. So if we could reset this case for further hearing and give myself, Mr. Ponton, and Ms. Bramblett time to see if we can get something worked out and hopefully take care of this case in the future, Judge.
Okay, that'll be fine. So noted.
Judge, our next case is 6492, the state of Texas versus Miguel Angel Ramirez. Mr. Ponton and I are going to discuss this case after docket today, Judge. There seems to be indication in my notes that there was a resolution in this case, but I'm not sure if that took place, and Mr. Ponton didn't have the file with him yesterday. But if it has not been resolved, we'd also ask that this case be set for the next pretrial hearing, Judge.
Well, I have that noted, and I also have that noted for Selena Leyva Hernandez.
Yes, Judge. Ms. Hernandez, I provided some information to Mr. Ponton yesterday. I can discuss this with him on the phone call here after court today. Hopefully we can have a resolution. If not, we'd ask that this be moved to the next pretrial.
Okay, so noted. We can do that, move it to the next pretrial.
And then the last person on the docket is represented by Mr. Bob Garcia, I guess out of Odessa.
Right.
We have another case, last case.
Judge, is Mr. McDermott.
Okay.
As Mr. McDermott mentioned earlier, Judge, someone from our office will be at all the dockets if you plan on hearing them, if you plan on still having those. If our clients may be excused from docket, Judge, I know a lot of them work and have things going on, and we will be sure to coordinate that they're on the next Zoom hearing.
Here.
What was that, Judge? I'm sorry. I couldn't. Thank you, Judge. Judge, I couldn't hear you. I can't hear it, either you nor Mr. Ponton, Judge. Okay.
Can I talk on this one? Bailey, can you hear me here?
Yeah, I can hear you there.
On the
Get all the dockets if you plan on hearing them.
if you plan on still having them.
But it's like the live stream is
Hard to
behind.
excuse me, docket judge, so,
Talk.
you know,
I know, but the live stream is behind.
Cut off the live stream. Cut off the live stream.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, on you saying that you were going to be excusing the clients from the next docket, that would be with the exception of those that are going to be set for plea. I presume.
I couldn't hear you, Mr. Potton.
We can't plead any,
I can't hear you.
Mr. Pott, we can't plead anybody with the open courts problem today.
Oh, I'm not talking about today. We were talking about the next docket, the next scheduled docket, nothing today.
If we can get something worked out and
Cut off.
we,
It's behind, it's the connection.
can you all hear me?
It's not the computer, it's the connection.
Are you calling me?
Judge, this is Deanna. I was wondering if I was dismissed.
Judge, I was never able to get her contact info. I did send her a message on Zoom with our office phone number. If she wanted to call that, I just wanted to make sure that she could check her messages before she left. It should be down at the bottom where it says chat, and there should be 2 messages from me with my phone number to our.
I did get the phone number.
Okay, if you could call our office, Ms. Gonzalez, hopefully that way we can get working on your case with you.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me see. I think she signed off, Judge. Judge, still can't hear you. I believe you're trying to call a close to court. I can hear you just a little bit.
This session of the court is now closed. All right, bye. Leave.
We only have 2 people, and that's it. So we should be done by
1:30 or 1:40, okay.
It's, pre-trials. Yeah, this is just 2 for and we shouldn't be long more than 30 minutes.
Okay.
I honestly doubt they're gonna even show up. I mean, we love it.
How stressful. I don't,
I can hear you now, Judge.
oh my goodness, this is not right.
Your audio is on, and you might want